Good afternoon, everyone. Today is March the 4th, 2026. It's about 12:31, and this is a meeting of the Election Law Subcommittee of Government, Labor, and Elections. We are on the call today to consider two bills for voting and one bill for discussion. The first bill that we're going to be bringing up is House Bill 357. This is Delegate Polakovich-Carr's bill on municipal election dates and reporting requirements. A quick update on the bill. There were amendments. The amendments were designed to help alleviate some of the concerns of the Maryland Municipal League. They limit the amount of information that's required to be posted, but still offer the name of each municipality, the election date, and each office that's to be voted on, so that we make sure that people are adequately informed about upcoming elections in their municipalities, and that the municipality itself will also make an effort, as long as it has a website, to make sure that that information is shared on their website as well. Stan, was there any other updates to this bill that I missed?
No updates. Just that the timing of the report is being changed from 6 months before the election to basically within 30 days after an election, they report on the information for the next election.
Gotcha. And so again, that would make it so that it just kind of makes the whole thing seamless, where as the municipality is reporting back to the state boards about its election, it just simply updates for the following election. So they don't have to go and do this twice every 4 years, or however often they hold their elections.
Exactly.
And so with that, I'll open it up to questions, or I welcome a motion for the amendments that were sponsor provided. Delegate Terrassa, over to you.
Hey, sorry, I was a minute or two late here. I didn't hear. These are all sponsor amendments.
Yeah, they're sponsor amendments, and they're at the request of the Maryland Municipal League, which she agreed to help make this process facilitate a little bit easier, acknowledging your very good points from our last subcommittee meeting on this bill.
But that was about the special elections, but my understanding is they're not putting that in. Which is fine. I understand now. It might be for another time, but not this year. I got it. Okay, then I'm good. You want a motion on the amendments?
Yes, please.
Okay, so moved.
Move favorable by Delegate Terrassa. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Delegate Siliberti. Is there any final discussion before we vote? Very good. All those in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Very good. Thank you. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Nope. All right. Very good. Passes unanimously. On to committee.
I thought that was on the. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. I thought we were voting on the amendments. I mean, I'm good on the bill also, but I was pretty sure we voted on the amendments.
You are absolutely correct. Thank you for that good catch. So the amendments have passed, and now on the bill as amended. Is there a motion? Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you, Delegate Terrassa, Delegate Wilson. Any final discussion on the bill as amended? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Very good. The bill moves on favorably, unanimously over to committee. And now we move on to House Bill 265. This bill was a simple departmental bill from the state, the Secretary of State's office, to have a better line of communication about election law with the State Board of Elections. So the whole wrap up is that the State Board of Elections will designate a contact person for this program for address confidentiality. So something that we already do, but they want to make sure that it's a very streamlined list of communication, that when we need to make an address confidential for any reason, that there's a very direct and streamlined process to follow that. Stan, did I miss anything?
No, sir.
Okay, so the bill has no amendments suggested. Is there any questions from the committee on the bill before we entertain a motion? All right, hearing none, is there a motion on House Bill 265?
So moved.
Thank you, Delegate Siliberti. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, second to multiple people. And is there any final discussion? Very good. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Hearing none. Abstentions? None. Very good. House Bill 265 passes to committee unanimously for favorable report. And now finally to House Bill 871, we're having just a discussion. This is Delegate Stewart's Enhanced Automatic Voter Registration System legislation. This bill is a bill we heard a couple weeks ago. It has a lot of technical components to it, but essentially it's designed to streamline the voter registration system. And I think Delegate Stewart did a great job in the committee of explaining the bill. Stan, I am going to turn it over to you to give kind of some of the technical components to the bill, and then we can open it up for discussion.
Sure. So basically, it just sort of changes the way that voter registration is conducted at the Motor Vehicle Administration. So if somebody is doing a real ID transaction, if they present a document in the course of that transaction that shows that they are a citizen, the MVA will actually transmit the person's voter registration information to SBE, and then SBE will send out a mailing that will say basically, we have registered you to vote, or we've updated your voter registration. If you do not want to register or do not want to update your registration, contact us and let us know. Otherwise, it's going to go forward. And that's different from our current system, under which each person who is applying for a federally compliant license is asked about voter registration. And they're basically told there's a screen that comes up and it says, you'll be registered to vote unless you opt out. If you choose to opt out, select this option. And then it goes forward from there and requires you to, swear under penalty of perjury that you meet the requirements. It gives you some information about voter registration, and then you complete the transaction there. So it's basically moving the process from the point of service to a back end opt-out system. And it's just at the Motor Vehicle Administration. We do have other agencies that do voter registration, such as the Department of Social Services, the local departments of social services, and the Maryland Health Benefit Exchange, but they're not part of this bill. This is just dealing with voter registration at the MVA for people who are doing real ID transactions.
And so we think that this would capture a large portion, but certainly pointing out it's not going to capture everybody. Is that fair, Stan?
Right. Yes. And the other thing to point out is that this new system would be in place by January 1st, 2029 under the bill. So there's several years of implementation.
Okay. Delegate Stewart, I hope we did you proud. He's on the call. So if any of our members have a direct question or need clarification on his intention, I'm sure he's able to take that. He's also brought on a subject matter expert to talk about the mechanics of the bill if we need it. Who's on the call. I believe that is Aaron. Is that correct? Great. Delegate Tomlinson, over to you.
I can't recall from the bill hearing. I was just looking at, there's a fiscal note. Are we all right with that? There's funding mechanism?
It's a great question. There is a fiscal note associated with the program. In order to implement it, it's largely steeped in the technology needed to make this bill operate. And so that would have to be a consideration that we would accept that fiscal note if we were choose to move forward with the bill. And Delegate Stewart, do you have something you'd like to add?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think you did a good job. Obviously, we are going to need, because the fiscal note says that, we're going to need appropriations approval. But at the same time, I will note that there was some discussion that Aaron mentioned during the bill hearing about the cost of this program in other states when it's been implemented, and it's essentially been costless. So I would never ever say a critical word about DLS or any fiscal analyst in the state. But I do think that the fiscal note might be a little bit bloated based on other states' experience.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Other good questions from the committee about this legislation? So, Delegate Stewart, if I remember our conversation correctly, a lot of the dialogue in the committee went back to capturing undocumented folks trying to register to vote, and this would do a better job of that. Is that kind of how it was communicated? Can you help explain why?
Yeah, absolutely. So really, there's kind of three, I think, or at least three benefits, but one of them obviously is, you capture more voters who, for whatever reason, may not be opting in right now when they register, and those people will now be registered, and statistics show that they actually vote at basically comparable rates as people who register in other processes. So these are actual real voters that we're capturing who are bringing in the political system. But a lot of the discussion at the hearing, I think, rightly centered on another ancillary benefit of this kind of system and why so many states are adopting this, which is that right now we're presenting the voter registration to Marylanders who are not citizens and who therefore cannot legally vote. And that's kind of dumb, and it's a bad idea because first of all, it gives them an opportunity, if they want to intentionally lie about their eligibility and register to vote, which, as we've heard in a number of other bills, people are very concerned about. And secondly, we have the problem of probably a more widespread problem of undocumented immigrants unintentionally registering to vote because they're hurried, they're in a rush, they say, yeah, sure, I'll vote, whatever. Maybe they think that they can. And then that puts them into all sorts of hot water potentially, because if it comes out that they're actually not documented and that they are not eligible to vote and they have sought to register to vote, and they in fact maybe even became registered to vote, then they could face all sorts of legal repercussions, including maybe deportation. So this system makes a lot more sense because under this bill, you are not presented with a question. You're not presented with the opportunity to register to vote if you are presenting documents that make it obvious that you're not a citizen. So in other words, if you're going to the MVA and you're presenting documentation that's not consistent with citizenship, there is never an opportunity for you to either intentionally register to vote when you're not eligible or to unintentionally register when you're not eligible. And so that's one of the ancillary benefits of the bill. The other one that I'll note briefly that came up at the hearing is that right now, if you change your address with MVA, like you get a new driver's license, you move, that data is not being automatically transferred to the Board of Elections. So you actually have to end up updating your address twice. So this bill provides for that link between the two agencies, which cuts down on time that our constituents are using, but also it makes the voter rolls cleaner and more accurate.
Thank you very much. Delegate Wilson, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Briefly, when you're talking about the illegal immigrants being, unfortunately, maybe tricked into, registering to vote, I guess what I understand that because of this process, because it seems we give illegal immigrants driver's licenses in Maryland, correct?
Yes.
We do.
Right. And so this will be done through the MVA, the same place they get their license, right?
Correct.
So explain to me how that makes it better.
Oh yeah, totally. I'm happy to. So sorry, Stan, I didn't mean to jump in front of you.
Yeah,
Stan,
because I
you're
wasn't,
welcome.
I was definitely asking Stan.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I do have a clarification, which is that people who are applying for non-federally compliant licenses are not asked about voter registration at the MVA. So it's actually a much smaller population that we're talking about. It's people who may be lawfully present, such as green card holders, who are applying for a federally compliant license, who are asked about voter registration. So it's a much smaller population that we're talking about of people who may not be eligible to register to vote who are asked about registration.
And that's where I was going to go next, Stan. So obviously that's a different pool of people, but those that are here legally but are not able to vote, they won't be caught up in this system.
Well, see, yes, that's true. So yeah, if you present a document that shows that you're lawfully present but not a citizen, under the bill, you would not be subject to this process and would not be asked about voter registration. But there are some people who present documents that don't show one way or the other whether they're a citizen, and under the bill, they're still going to be asked about voter registration, as is done now.
Okay.
In order to complete the process, you have to attest under penalty of perjury that you're a citizen and meet the requirements.
Got you.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Stan, for the clarification.
And Mr. Chair, I want to apologize. I'm just
Yep.
trying to, when the floor debate comes, we have to be ready to answer these questions. So we got to flesh them out now.
I absolutely agree, and that's what the best part about subcommittee discussion is really to kind of flesh out some of these the challenges or concerns. So, Stan, I'm understanding this correctly that the bill won't inherently capture undocumented immigrants because they go through a non-federal process already to get their license. Did I get that correct?
That's right. And they're not asked about voter registration now.
Okay, because it's not allowed to be on the document. Okay, that's good to know. Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, if you're applying for a non-federally compliant license, you're not asked about voter registration at the MVA.
Gotcha. Is there an opportunity, going back to the mechanics of the bill, folks would upload somehow, going for Real ID? I'm assuming this is all a process that involves uploading documentation of who you are. Just curious, can people upload false documentation and be able to circumvent this system anyways? I'm just trying to figure out if there's a way to work around this and get registered to vote anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that could happen. Yeah, but I kind of doubt that would happen. I think voter registration, people don't generally go to the MVA, thinking about voter registration is just something that happens in the course of things. So yeah, I mean, they present a document and then it's scanned into the system. And then the MVA would note whether it proves citizenship or not.
Thank you. Yes, Aaron, we'll go ahead and turn it over to you if you'd like to clarify something on the bill.
Thank you. I just wanted to add to the response that Stan gave. So under the Real ID Act, anyone applying for Real ID has the type of documentation provided logged by the MVA. So if they provided a passport or green card, the type of documentation is logged. The actual document is not logged, but the type of document is. And so that would be the basis for sending people who are, citizens who presented a U.S. passport, for example, to the State Board of Elections. Folks who presented a green card would not be asked the voter registration question. So you would be automating that process based on the document logged by MVA.
And Aaron, is the passport the only document allowed to be accepted?
A U.S. birth certificate, a naturalization certificate are the other two most common forms of citizenship proof that we see with Real ID transactions.
Gotcha. So somebody to apply has to supply one of those three, basically one of those three documents. And if they present anything other than those three documents, they're automatically, that question about voter registration is eliminated. Is that right?
I just to clarify, so those folks are automatically registered. If you present one of those documents, you're automatically registered. If you present a document affirming proof, affirming non-citizenship, like a green card or a student visa, you're automatically off-ramped from being asked the question. And then as Stan said earlier, if you're in this third bucket of people who maybe present something that is not, a foreign birth certificate, for example, so you don't know whether the person has been naturalized, they were born abroad, but you don't know whether they have been naturalized, they would still be asked the question that currently is at MVA. So what we've seen in other states is it eliminates a large pool of people because most people are showing either affirmative proof of citizenship or non-citizenship. There's a small third bucket of people who would still be asked the registration question.
And when sorry, go ahead, Delegate Wilson.
No, go ahead. I'll wait. It's not a follow-up. I'll wait till you're done. Go ahead, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it was clear. So when they on-ramp into this, you said that they automatically get registered, but there's a registration question, which is, do you want to affiliate with a party? Is that happen?
That is in the bill. So there would be the only question that would be asked is, would you like to affiliate with a party at this time?
Okay, and can they skip that question? And then what happens if they skip that question?
If they skip, go ahead, Stan.
No, dude, you go ahead.
If they skip that question, so everyone who's registered will be sent a post-transaction mailer. It's the sort of voter registration confirmation mailer that you normally get when you register to vote. That would be adapted for this process, and that mailer would have another opportunity for folks to affiliate with a party on it, so they could send it back and affiliate with a party that way as well.
And if they bypass both of those opportunities, the person would just become an unaffiliated voter. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that clarity. Delegate Wilson, back over to you.
And I apologize, Mr. Chair, just only because it's a slightly different issue. But if a young lady comes in and she has a birth certificate with her birth name on it, how is she able to prove that that this is her new name and get a Real ID?
So for Real ID transactions, the name on the proof of citizenship has to match the name that you're asking for on the ID. And so in that case, she would have to provide some sort of chain of custody documentation that showed that she had changed her name, that this was her maiden name and she had changed her name in order to be, in order to get the Real ID itself that contains her current name.
So most like in addition to bringing a birth certificate, she'd have to bring Well, not even a passport, because a passport wouldn't work, because that she'd have to bring a marriage certificate. It sounds like that's the only way a married woman could prove. She couldn't use a passport because it would just be a different name, right?
If the passport was issued to her with her current name, if that was the
Yes.
document she was using to obtain the real ID, that would be fine. That would the passport is proof of citizenship that matches
Good point.
her current name. It's only if she's bringing the birth certificate that does not match the current name that she would have
Right.
to provide
I'm sorry,
additional.
this has more to do with the SAVE Act than anything else. So I'm just
Yeah.
okay.
And just to clarify, this is not imposing any sort of documentary proof of citizenship requirement
Nope.
to register. It just would,
You're
register.
fine. You're fine. This is just for my own edification, trying to figure,
Yeah.
so a woman would definitely have to bring, the only thing she could bring if she doesn't have a passport would be her birth certificate, and she'd have to find her marriage certificate in order to get this
In
real
order to
ID.
get the real ID. Yeah, that's right.
Thank you very much.
And so people who do not want the real ID do not have to go through that process. Aaron, State Board, did you want to weigh in at all on this bill? Any concerns you have from the State Board's perspective?
Well, we do, okay. We do foresee the expenses you've got. I can't speak as much to what our eventual savings might be, but we added a pin on the State Board side to coordinate the changes, including the changes to our voter registration database and software programming issues. I did just want to say that I'm going to check myself on this. I do believe that we get address updates from the MVA unless voters tell us that they don't want them transmitted to us. And that was Stan, you're saying that's
correct. Yeah, that the address updates are transmitted automatically to the State Board currently.
Yeah. And then you've worked out the other clarification I would have added regarding who gets offered voter registration right now through the MVA.
I'm sorry. I'll also just clarify on the address updates, I believe, and Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong. It is folks who do not, there would be an opportunity right now to decline to send the address update. Under this bill, there would not be an opportunity to decline. So if someone's in a rush, for example, and accidentally decline, that process couldn't happen under this system.
That's true. The opportunity to decline to have your voter registration address updated is currently done at the MVA. So they have an opportunity then to say that they don't want to update their address. And under the bill, it would happen after the fact. The opt-out opportunity.
Are there examples, Stan, where somebody might not want to update their address for whatever reason? Is there, if the opportunity to decline is there and people will lose that opportunity to decline, is that the bill will mandate it?
They would have the opportunity to decline after the fact. A notice would be sent if they didn't want to have it updated. Yeah, it's actually provided for in federal law, actually, that people have the opportunity to decline to have their address updated. I'm not exactly sure why that would be the case, because it is supposed to, your MVA address is supposed to be your domicile, which is the same as your voter registration address. But it is an option that exists under the current law.
All right. Well, go ahead, Stan. Is there any final comments?
I just had one more question, which was about the recording of documents, and this is actually for Aaron. So you said that the bill says that the State Board has to implement procedures with the MVA to reliably record and validate the specific document that's compliant with the Real ID Act and presented at the MVA. So you're saying that they don't actually scan the actual document at the MVA, that they're just recording what type of document it is? Because I don't know for sure that that's how it's done in Maryland. I seem to recall that they said that they actually scan the document.
That could be I could be mistaken. So we should check with MVA on that piece. In most states what all the Real ID Act requires, I suppose, is for them to log the document type. And so in most states that's to collect the minimal amount of information from individuals coming to MVA. That's what states tend to do. But it's possible that that Maryland does more than that.
Yeah, I believe they do. I remember from past discussions with them that they actually have the scanned documents going back a certain number of years. I'm pretty sure that is how it's done in Maryland.
All right, Stan, any final things for your hand being raised or?
Oh, no, sorry, I meant to lower that.
No, you're okay. All right, well, we're going to pause on the bill there because we have committee coming up, but House Bill 871, Delegate Stewart, we really appreciate you taking time to talk to us about it. Aaron, we appreciate your expertise there and everybody on the call. We're going to hold the meeting. We're going to call the meeting there, and thank you all. We'll see you in committee.